Welcome to the Supply Chain Ambassador podcast. I'm your host, Bruno, helping you navigate the world of supply chain in a fun and engaging way. On today's podcast, I have with me Christine Lamarche. Christine is the Director General with the Procurement, Material Management, and Asset Management at the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. This role includes providing the leadership oversight, program and service delivery of the RCMP National Fleet Program, Policing Assets Program, as well as procurement service delivery and policing centers for procurement, material management, and MOUs. Christine joined the public service as an FSWEP student. Her career has largely been focused in procurement, and she's had various procurement positions at the Public Services and Procurement Canada, the Privy Council Office, the Immigration and Refugee Board of Canada, Canada Border Services Agency, and has been with the RCMP since 2016, where she started as an executive. Christine graduated from the University of Ottawa with a bachelor's degree in administration. Welcome, Christine.
Thanks, Bruno. Nice to be here.
Can you give us a bit more context about how you got to your current role?
Sure. Well, you covered off how I started, and I always say that I've pretty much grown up in the procurement community. But in terms of since I've been with the RCMP, I, as you indicated, became an executive in 2016 with the RCMP. I did that Director of Procurement position for a few years, learned kind of what I wanted to learn out of it. Then I had the opportunity to support the G7 in Charlevoix in 2018 in terms of the preparation and planning for that. So I went and did some work there on the procurement required for that event, and it was eye-opening and gave me a perspective of the work in RCMP supporting the enabling services and the security posture required for a major event like that, and kind of some regional exposure as well. And that was a beautiful experience, very challenging. Times were tight in terms of delivery. It was a kind of a no-fail mission, but I learned a lot, worked with some great people. After that, I returned back to my director position, and then another at-level opportunity came about where I was asked to support the chief financial officer as her chief of staff and that type of role. So again, it was a lateral move, but it was a really dynamic opportunity to watch a senior executive in their daily activities, support her, and get a glimpse of the other types of branches and service deliveries that were being offered by the chief financial officer. So a glimpse into the finance world, real property, enabling services in the regions. And it was kind of at the middle tail end of COVID, so all kinds of dynamic challenges that came about.
Wow. But
it was a really great opportunity for me to kind of get a crash course, essentially, in corporate services.
No kidding.
At level.
Yeah.
And then while I was there, the position of the Director General of Procurement and Material came up vacant. And so I knew that was something that I was really interested in. And I worked really hard in preparing myself for that competition. And I was successful. And so I've been in this job for over 4 years. And I continue to learn about, kind of the work that my team is doing and that we're doing. And just the RCMP is quite complex. So I'm still learning, still enjoying the work. And we're trying different things too. So that's all great fun.
That is fantastic. Speaking of your work, what do you love about your work?
Oh, so I was actually reflecting on this. I'd say 3 things, if you'll permit me. The first thing is I'm surrounded by great people. The team that we have in our branch are super strong, super passionate, eager, empathetic leaders. And I would say, from the fleet analysts that we have on their team to the procurement officers to the folks supporting us on the MOU side, everybody is really supportive and passionate about enabling policing operations, which makes coming to work and working with my folks and the team really easy. I also have I'm surrounded by great colleagues in the regions and at HQ with the other services that we offer. So it's makes that part of being at work and encouraged and enthused about my work easy. Yeah. The other thing that I would say is it's really easy to find pride in my job. I can just look around and it's easy to see some of the deliverables that we've achieved. And I know that it's also providing support to officer safety and communities. And that kind of fuels me. So that's another attribute of why I love my job. And I'd say third, right now, kind of been 4 and a bit years into this role, kind of getting more comfortable with it. I'm also taking the opportunity to dive into some kind of self-reflection and what that means for me as a leader and how I'm delivering as a leader. And so I'm blessed to have that opportunity right now to kind of go there with myself, my career, and where I want to explore in the future. So it's been something newer in the last year that I've been doing, and it's been something that I've been grateful for, and it's a big contributor to why I'm enjoying what I'm doing.
Wow. That's great. Having a great team around you, having pride in your work.
Yeah.
And also reflecting on how do you show up at work?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's wonderful. Now, are there any misconceptions about what you do?
Largely, people see me as procurement, and I recognize that this is a supply chain. So I'll dive into the material management side of things.
Yes,
because,
please.
People see me, they just think procurement. They don't recognize that we have a whole material management component of what we need to deliver. And I think that is something that I've been trying to bring to the table a little bit. Material management does kind of get not forgotten necessarily, but just kind of not as much attention to it. But without their functions, we kind of crumble. And so I have been trying to advocate for that. And I'm never probably going to sell it as something as fun or as critical, but it is critical in terms of needing to consider the life cycle span of assets and when we're doing that procurement and, the planning for the fleet. And there's so many connections between the work of material management with other areas, financial planning, investment planning, project management, that type of thing. So I think that it's something that folks don't quite see, but I'm so thankful, and they are grateful that it exists, because without it, there's a lot of problems that occur without that consideration for full life cycle management and the proper material management components, and the tracking of inventory and all of those types of compliance pieces. So I'd say that is kind of that one area where people don't recognize that that's a significant other piece of my team and my responsibility and my accountability. But we're getting there. We're making some strides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very typical too in the procurement world, because we often buy it and forget it.
Yeah.
And we don't consider the life cycle and the tracking and the asset and the storage. Where is it going to be stored? Is it going to be shipped? So there's a lot of components, I think, that if we talk more with material managers, that we can address during the purchasing activity, so that the life cycle management can be done, can fit properly as it should.
Absolutely. I think there's a huge component of interoperability with those two, and that's why it's a really nice complement for me to be responsible for both areas, because we can kind of try to be influenced throughout the procurement process. Because if we are not considering, where an asset is going to be stored, or the maintenance of the asset in the procurement process, where it's only causing us issues later on. And we've had to learn that lesson a little bit the hard way within the RCMP, and we are trying to ensure that process, the material management components of what might be required, are built in earlier on through that procurement process. So it's been really vital, I'd say, to ensure that there's that synergy between both of those shops. Yeah.
Absolutely. Any challenges that you faced, and how did you overcome these challenges?
Yeah, there's been a few. I think that I'd for this podcast and this kind of conversation, I think that the community might resonate with kind of what we've touched on already, but with respect to having an operational department understand the value added that procurement officers and life cycle managers are bringing to the table and need to bring to the table. I think that there's a lot of conversations that need to occur with respect to the awareness of what our delegated authorities are trying to deliver, and ensuring that our deputy heads, who are essentially entrusted with this authority, are being, and our role in helping protect the organization with what we are bringing to the table in navigating kind of what I call the web of rules that exists within what we are responsible and accountable in delivering. So, there's lots of pressure in an operational department, deliver, we need this fast, we need this quickly. And I don't disagree, but we also need to deliver while maintaining and respecting the accountability that we are delegated. And so it's finding that balance, and it can get a little challenging because there's this pressure to deliver, and then there's this officer safety component for us with respect to delivering quickly and delivering on the right thing. And I think that that's a critical part of a procurement officer's role, is to help business owners, our clients, our policy centers for who we are trying to support, walk them through, tease out what they might not know they need to know, and tell us as procurement officers in order to support them in delivering what they are actually really trying to achieve. And so that has been something that it's likely going to be a constant challenge for our community. But I think that we are again making some progress with that. It's about getting involved early. It's about showing that value added. It's about building those partnerships early on both sides, having our business owners understand about our world, and then trying to dive into what they're trying to achieve. And kind of, we're always encouraging our folks to get out there, go and watch a training session with members so that they can actually get some of those complexities and nuances that are trying to be portrayed in a procurement process, but our clients might not know how to articulate that to us. By actually getting out there and spending some time with our clients in their operational setting where we can, that's really gone a long way in helping both sides of the conversation and both of us to proceed with something that's delivering on something that's meaningful from that full perspective, and then going back to that life cycle. And that's where we're kind of trying to dive into achieving that. So it's kind of a general conversation in terms of a challenge, but it's that demonstrating that value added while achieving the balance on compliance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so interesting because when I had a little stint at D&D, we were the NCR HQ shop. We were doing procurement and designing some of the rules and, processes that affected the base logistics out on the coasts.
Right.
And one of my biggest fears was like, well, I don't know anything about what they do. How can me in HQ, direct or provide advice when I have no clue? And it wasn't until we had taken a trip down to one of the base logistics, and I got a tour of the facilities, of how it ran. I got to meet some of the great folks. They shared some of their pain points with us, which was, I loved. It's like, yes, I need to be part of your world, to understand your world, so that I can support you, because I want to support. I don't want to we want to align, right? So there's such truth to that. In that collaboration piece and understanding each other's world, so that we do have the expected outcome that we all both want.
Yeah. Good for you. That's great. Yeah. We need to do more of that, to be honest with you. Yeah. Especially when I'd say we've been doing a good job internally within our delegations where there's files within our departmental authority, but I think we need to potentially try to expand that. And we've done that on some key files for sure, but getting either the SSC services that are coming to support us if it's over our delegation, or PSPC, Public Services Procurement Canada, folks to kind of help gain some of that same perspective.
Oh,
good for you.
Great. Any fun, exciting new things that you're looking forward to and excited to be part of?
Yeah, we're working on a couple of bigger files for us right now from a procurement delivery perspective, and some of them, so we in the last federal budget, there's some funding announced for renewal of our air fleet, which is going to be a significant, complex procurement processes that we're going to work through. So that's going to be different for me anyway. Just, and again, going back to that tangible example of what we're going to be able to deliver for our clients. So we're looking forward to doing that, and we're likely going to have to consider the Buy Canadian policy that's going to be announced, the details of what is entailed in that policy. So that's going to be interesting. It's going to be kind of different and new for us from a commodity perspective. We do a lot of kind of maintenance on aircraft, but it's been limited in terms of what we've been procuring. And we're also starting to do a lot of work with our just delivery of procurement services overall within the RCMP in the span of what we control. And kind of alluding back to what I spoke about on challenges is, we're looking at how we're delivering our services across the country. So we have regions also within the RCMP that deliver procurement services. And so we've been working together to kind of land on where we want to go, establishing our vision and our mission, and what enabling functions we want to bring forward as a procurement service across the RCMP. So we're diving into that, and that's kind of, it's new for me. This has been something we've been wanting to do for a while, and the timing is now in terms of like challenging ourselves, finding those efficiencies, seeing how we can work more collaboratively together. So that's going to be a lot of interesting. I'm really looking forward to the outcomes of that. I think it's going to be something that the procurement community within the RCMP is eager to see and support, because there's going to hopefully be some kind of more streamlined of processes, which is something that we've heard the call of action from the clerk and the Prime Minister with respect to simplifying our processes, finding those efficiencies. So that is exactly the type of work that we're going to be doing with this RCMP Procurement Optimization Initiative, which is what we've called that piece of work.
Fancy.
Yeah. I think we used AI to come up with the title on that. And that's the other thing is like, what does technology bring to the table? We have been a little kind of behind in adopting technology on the corporate services side so this is something that we're diving in. We're changing our financial system. We're going to see kind of what that can potentially bring to the table in terms of supporting procurement officers and our clients to simplify and to kind of that more integrated approach. So there's a lot of interesting things coming in for specifically procurement and material management at the RCMP, but also procurement in general with the Government of Canada right now. Super interesting. Like I said, we've been kind of having to navigate this focus on Canadian supply chains and what that means for us and what that means for supporting the procurement activities, while also considering, some of the other components like supporting Indigenous businesses and, navigating what's been like the impact of tariffs has had a big impact for us, either in terms of like supporting active contracts and what that meant, and suppliers that were kind of struggling, and right. So it's been a challenging kind of year. I'm super proud of the team for how we've responded to it, and I think that we're going to continue to get challenged, and that's okay. Like I think our community needs it. I think that it is time for us to do some bold reform, as the Ombudsman has kind of suggested, for the federal government procurement process as a whole. So I'm really looking forward to what's to come. Yeah.
So you alluded to this earlier. It's like navigating a web of rules, right?
Yeah.
Big spider web. So yeah, if whatever helps streamline that web into a more for procurement officer at least, that's a great boon, a great bonus for us. But at the same time, it is also very exciting because having to have all these considerations just highlights the importance of the role. So for me, that brings me pride, and like kind of like you mentioned, having that self-reflection and pride in what you do, and having to be the communicator that can translate the rules for my clients, for my business owners. I think it makes me proud to be in this community, and also not leaving aside the material management community, as you said. I did attend a CIPM fleet management conference, and that was very eye-opening. The amount of technology going into vehicles to track, the telematics, to track the tire pressures, to track just you name it. It was just very eye-opening. So that's also very exciting, bringing technology and how that's revolutionizing that space. So,
and the next piece to that, and the fleet component, is electrifying the fleet, right? And what that means. And for us at the RCMP, where we put so much demand on the actual system of our vehicles with respect to the power input, all the lights, the radios, all of the other equipment that goes in a police pursuit vehicle, and what that looks like, and the impact of needing all of that demand on the vehicle. So we are doing a lot of kind of studies, and we're trying different things in different communities, northern communities where like how do these kind of vehicles react to colder environments. And we also, we put a lot of pressure on our vehicles with respect to like they're running, they're used all the time pretty much, right? And so what does that look like in a space where it's an electric vehicle? And what does that mean? So that's going to be super interesting coming forward with how we're going to move forward in that space, because we are the largest land fleet owners for the government of Canada in terms of our land fleet. So I think that there's a lot of folks looking at what we are doing with respect, and not only with the federal government, but in policing, because of kind of like I said, we are big. We have a vast remote operating environment. So it's going to be interesting to see how all of that plays out.
Yes, I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out as well.
Yeah.
Now, what advice would you give to, normally I ask for procurement officer, but this is a supply chain show. So let's broaden that. What advice would you give to material managers, to people in supply chain, or just young professionals that are in this field?
I have so many thoughts. I think to your last point about the kind of professionals is like dive in, don't be shy to kind of explore, ask the questions, because I think that it only makes us stronger in terms of an enabling service provider on both sides, either material management component or a procurement officer, and kind of explore what it means, like explore trying to find those different and creative solutions and coming at it differently. I think that just, it is kind of a faux pas to say, well, that's how we've always done it. But I don't know if folks kind of realize that, to the extent that there is a lot of opportunity to be creative in a lot of our spaces. And I think we can sometimes get comfortable in the way that we've been doing it. And I think that it's a great opportunity right now. It is part of the mantra that we've been kind of asked to do as public servants. And so diving in, using our business acumen competencies, developing those competencies if we're feeling like it is areas that we want to develop. There's so many opportunities to develop and grow and kind of seek some of that support within our community. Seek that variety as well as a public servant with respect to, trying different jobs. This is kind of an interesting thing for me. Like I've always had procurement as my crutch, like as a subject matter expert. It's been my thing, right? And so, and maybe that's been a good thing, and maybe not. It's brought me to this beautiful career that I've had, and I'm super proud of it and super thankful for it. But I think that maybe I've made myself a little bit of a disservice by not having branched out a little bit more earlier on in my career. That was a decision I made back then. And that's, it's okay. But having some of that more exposure to the different, go maybe support a program outside of a procurement function or a material management function. Go see what it's like to work at the passport office, or you can do so many beautiful things in the public service. Granted, I recognize we're in a bit of a different, challenging situation, but I think that there's still opportunities to raise your hand, volunteer, to support in ways that you might not think fits that box. I think that that's going to be critical for us as a community in the next little while. And it's something that I would recommend any kind of somebody wanting to learn how to navigate their career. And I just, on the last, like kind of with respect to like the environment right now, I think what's going to still be important is to find some of that pride. I think it is going to be a challenging environment for public servants right now, but we still need to find, well, I know that that's what fuels me. Again, I've spoken about this, is like what gives me the pride in doing my work. And as soon as I start to focus on, oh yeah, okay, I did do that, and I did help with supporting this, or hey, there's this great video where, hey, I bought that, and I think about that all the time, and it fuels me. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm good, I'm ready to go. And so finding a pride in no matter what we're doing in terms of supporting Canadians is super important. And I would always try to encourage folks to, if you're not feeling that, then maybe you're not looking hard enough, or maybe it's time for kind of a shift. And because I think that that's super important for me anyway.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree. So I'm in a role where I don't do day-to-day procurement.
Okay.
I'm more an advisory role.
Yeah.
But I do audit some of the files of the fellow PGs. And, when I look at these files, I have a pride.
Sure.
And yeah, I'm like, oh, they bought this? How cool is that?
Yeah.
And, they may not see them. For them, it may just be an operational day-to-day.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like, this is great. The way you bought this, the way you interact with the client, and the way you made this, solution come into place. And we use it today.
I know.
If I look, there's the computer that was probably bought, or here's a software that I used, and that was bought in this file.
Yeah.
So it's just those little things, and taking pride in what you're achieving, I think is a very, very good advice for others. Yeah.
Well, that's great. I'm glad you're seeing it.
Yeah. Would you like to leave any call to action to the officers?
Yeah. Just one. Build your network, I think, is something that has been really beneficial to me right now. I've spoken about kind of diving into my self-reflection and leadership, and it's been building my network, relying on my network, fostering my network has been a valuable activity and energy where I've been focusing some of my energy, and it's paid off in strides. So I think that is something that I would encourage our communities to kind of dive into, and kind of, reach out to Bruno and reach out to your community and this podcast, and leverage lessons from each other, leverage advice from each other, lean on each other. As I said, it might be challenging in the next little while. And I think that this might sound corny, but we are going to have to support and lean on each other to get kind of through some of this. And I think we have a really strong base of community, and, maybe just leverage it to the extent that we can.
Wow. Fantastic. Well, those are all the questions that I've had for you today. I'll send you the list of the other 12 questions that I incoming later.
Yeah.
But thank you for coming on the podcast to really let us get to know you a little bit more, and to share the fantastic advice that you've given to us. Before I leave, is there any comments, any questions that you may have about the show, or about anything in general?
I want to thank you. Thanks for doing this. You are a star for our community, and I applaud you for your effort, and I know that our community appreciates you. So thank you.
Oh, thanks. You're making me blush. Well, there you have it. Christine Lamarche here to share her exciting career journey, what she loves about her work, what brings her joy every day, and just giving us some really great advice on what we can do to improve our networks and to help us grow as we navigate the world of supply chain. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you at the next episode. Cheerio. Bye-bye.